Hello and welcome to the Untranslatable Podcast. We are here recording episode 129, and today we will be discussing sports around the world, some top sports in different countries, and also discuss how you can use sports as a way to make some new friends in different countries and cultures. And this episode will definitely give you some information and some knowledge to prepare for your sports training before you visit whichever country that we end up discussing later this episode. So we're looking forward to bringing this your way, and hopefully you have all your sports equipment ready to go and your Gatorade, your Powerade, or your water at your disposal, because this episode is going to get pretty intense. So we're looking forward to it, and without further ado, my former soccer buddy, well, I guess we would still be soccer buddies if we were in the same country. Jared, what's going on, Jared?
The first game I would like to play is, first of all, spread a little love. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter, Untranslatable Podcast and Untranslatable 1, respectively. Wow.
Brilliant.
And hit us up there and let us know, Jared versus Chad, who would win in a death match. That's the real sport that we'd all like to see, isn't it? Come on, everyone. Spread a little love. And also, please, 5-star reviews. Hello. Yeah, this is... First question. What's your favorite sport?
You know, I've had difficulty answering this one because my students have been asking me the same question. And I think it really depends on the day of the week. Really depends. Yeah. Some days it's definitely soccer, or as everyone else around the world says, football.
Football.
Otherwise, I mean, some days it's tennis. Shout out to Rafael Nadal for winning the U.S. Open. I think that was like his 19th or 20th Grand Slam title, and he's one of my favorite tennis players.
I heard he's very close to catching up with, who's the other guy?
Federer? I think so. Federer has 24 or 25 titles, somewhere around there, I think.
Oh, man.
So, yeah,
how old
Nadal's always been... Federer, I think, is 35 or 36, and Nadal's 31 or 32, which to play at the level that they're playing... Federer does too. I mean, Federer makes it look effortless. It's amazing. And I've seen the guy play live 3 or 4 times, actually both of them. And Federer does not he barely breaks a sweat when he plays. I don't get it. I really don't get it.
Jogs out of the place.
Right. I'm doing my warm-ups for tennis, and I'm already like drenched in sweat, and Federer's out here playing a 2-3 hour match, barely has a bead of sweat rolling down his face.
I used to do Insanity, which is like a like one of those little TV workouts where you do like all these sort of movements around in your house, and I did like the first one. I was like, oh my God, this is exhausting. This is probably almost over. And Sean T was like, all right, now we're finishing up the warm up. Like, what? Right. The warm up. I'm dead.
Right. Well, Jared, so you asked my favorite sport. I would say, they kind of, it depends on the day, but I would say they rotate between the following 3: soccer or football, table tennis, and tennis, and then a close 4th would probably be basketball. I've always enjoyed basketball.
First of all, you can't... It's kind of unfair to say table tennis and tennis are two different things, or the same thing. Didn't you just classify them as the same thing?
No, I didn't.
Oh, you said 2 and 3. Excuse me. I misunderstood you at first. Okay. I was like, those are completely different things.
Someone who has played table tennis and tennis for quite a long time, they are very different. And actually, because I
misunderstood you. I thought you were saying they were similar.
You're good. But because I started with table tennis before I started tennis, I had a couple habits from table tennis I had to break when I was learning how to play tennis. So you would think it translates very well, but there are a couple big differences. Like in table tennis, you can use a lot more wrist motion on certain shots, and in tennis, you really shouldn't do that unless you have a really strong wrist or you have impeccable timing. And I don't really know if I have either of those things. So yeah, but what about you, Jared? What are your favorite sports?
Man, don't be so hard on yourself. I mean, my passion as a kid was definitely soccer. I played it ever since I was like, since I was old enough to play, like 4 or 5. up until high school, and then I guess laziness took over is what I would say. I still watch soccer sometimes. I'm like, I could do that, but I'm sure I couldn't. I used to enjoy. Well, when I played soccer when I was younger, I never really watched it. Like when I lived in the U.S., even when I lived in Germany, I never really watched soccer. When I came back to the U.S., though, I started watching soccer. I think that's because that's when I really got into playing FIFA. I think that had a lot to do with it. FIFA makes it very easy to like learn players and sort of get into it. And so I got into it, and now I'm kind of out of it again. I haven't really watched soccer in a while, but like I still love it, and I'd still happily play whenever I get the chance. But the trick to playing often is having friends. And if anyone's listened to more than one episode of this, they'd know that's not my strong suit. We play
I'm sure
all the
there's
time,
a
though.
league in Ferndale though that you could easily join
Oh, for
and make
sure.
some cool friends.
One of my coworkers plays on like
do
3
that.
different leagues.
Oh, there you go, buddy.
Yeah. What am I
and
supposed
easy.
to ask him? Hey, can I play?
Yeah, you're a good soccer
Is that
player.
how that works?
Yeah, that is
I didn't know that's how that works. I thought I had to be invited.
I guess I'm just less. I don't know what the right terminology is here, Jared, but I guess I would
Bashful?
invite myself. Yeah, more bashful, and I would definitely be like, hey, can I join you guys? Can I come play? But
No, that's what you should be doing. That's the healthy thing to do.
well, I think I told you, Jared. I was walking around my apartment complex, and I found a building where they have like a foosball table and also a ping pong table. So once I buy my my table tennis paddle here, my ping pong paddle, I'm gonna definitely check out that place. Hopefully, befriend some old Chinese dudes and start playing table tennis with them.
I'd be very excited to hear about that, and I feel like you as like a that's one of your favorite sports, as you just mentioned, and I know that you're very passionate about it. China's got to be one of the meccas, right?
It is, and we'll talk about that more in the main segment. But it is.
Oh, right, I forgot.
I will just say. Oh no, actually, today we're dropping everything and just talk about sports for an hour and a half, which we probably could do. But anyways, China has been a powerhouse
one more
for a long, long time.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry. Okay. I just want to one more. My recent new favorite sport is definitely Formula One, and granted, I haven't even been watching a year. Let me clarify, but there is a TV. They have like a TV show on Netflix. It's great because it's about they talk about the previous season, and they make it like they sort of focus on a different team or racer every episode.
Oh, cool.
And so you get to see sort of all the behind the scenes drama, all the sort of drama between teammates. Every Formula One team has 2 racers that race, simultaneously. And so, these are all, the best racers in the world. So there's a lot of competition even within the teams and sort of, situations where teammates maybe are responsible for another teammate crashing or something like that, which is not great if you didn't know that.
No kidding. Right.
But that show did a very good job of getting us interested. Like when we first watched the first episode of the show, we kind of like laughed like ha ha ha, and then we're like, oh, we got to keep watching this next thing. And
It's a
so
very pretentious
I've only been
laugh of
watching
you,
it.
Jared.
Yeah, it was.
Brilliant.
But I've only been watching it for I'd say maybe 6 months at this point. But I've watched every race since then, and I haven't missed one. So, and I'm very into it. And like I follow them on all the social medias. My girlfriend's into Reddit, so she follows like the Reddits and all this stuff. And so we're real into it. And so that's definitely my current favorite, and one that's the only one that I actually is like appointment watching for me too.
Okay. I was
those are
actually
my
going to
2
ask you about
favorites.
Formula One, but you answered it all, so fantastic. Well, cool. Well, we'll talk more about sports in a bit, but I think it's time. Well, before we spread a little love, I do have a little story for you, Jared. So yesterday, I had to go give you a little China update, and for all of our listeners in the States who've been curious about what's been going on in China. Done with 2 weeks of lessons, which was good. Got a text message, though, from one of my students that said, and so I actually, it's kind of funny. I have my students calling me Mr. Bowsley, or if they have difficulty pronouncing my last name, they call me Mr. B, one or the other. and not going with first name basis this time. So that's a little weird. It's a little different.
Did you do that in Czech Republic?
No, I went by first name basis because they introduced me as
Interesting
Chad there.
too.
Yeah, they introduced me.
Do they do that
as
with
Chad.
all their teachers?
No. All the other teachers, but I think the other thing is too is we were told this in the Czech Republic that if you want a more formal relationship with your students and have kind of in a way more boundaries, go by Mr. whatever, Miss or Mrs. Well, I guess it would. Well,
so it's kind of a contradiction to hang out with your students at bars and clubs and then also have them call you Mr. Bowsley.
Right, exactly. Whereas I thought here, I figured it's better. I told them in class, I was like, in class, once we get started, it's Mr. B or Mr. Bowsley. Outside of class, if you want, you're welcome to call me Chad. And I had my first English corner, which is like a conversation hour on Wednesday evening. And that was one. It was a lot of fun. But I was amazed, dude. So the original classroom we were going to use was taken for like some speaking competition. And so we had to find another room. And so I thought there'd be like 10, 15, 20 students. Dude, I saw literally like this just like crowd of Chinese students coming up the stairwell. And I'm like, holy shit. There were about 45 to 50 people in my first conversation hour, my English corner on Wednesday.
Wow.
So thankfully I had tried to...
almost too many?
Well, it's too many in terms of I just cannot talk to everybody and spend a ton of time talking with everybody. So it gives me less opportunities to give them more personalized feedback. And so they just have to do a lot more discussions amongst themselves, which is fine. But I'm sure some of them would prefer a bit more one-on-one time with a native speaker. But, it worked out really well. But I have to tell you, man, so I'm always curious what my students are thinking. So once again, I resorted back to my old ways, Jared, and I had the students do an Ask Me Anything at the end of the lesson. And what kind of questions?
I feel like you would have learned.
Well, I figured here it would be a bit more tame, and it most definitely was much more tame.
Yeah. That's fair. I can't imagine. I couldn't, I don't know why, but it seems, it's just more formal. Like, it seemed crazy to ask, when did you lose your virginity and all this ridiculous stuff that you got asked in
the Czech Republic. Right. So what do you think the students asked me, Jared?
Okay. Hold on. This is tough, but I want to guess. About your family.
Believe it or not, I didn't get any questions about my family.
So no, like, sibling questions or anything about that?
Nope.
Did they ask you, like, what's the U.S. like? Also no. Okay.
Not really. The only question I got so far about the U.S. was what are like common American wedding traditions, which I was very curious about.
Interesting question.
And it's very specific. Yeah.
I don't think I even really have an answer to that question.
That's what I told them. I was like, because we were coming towards the end of the hour, and I was like, I'm going to save some of these for next week. Let me think about this one and do a little bit of research because...
Did they write them down?
Yeah. So what I had them do is I had them write them down, and I told them, if you want, you can write your name. If not, you don't have to. Just because I wanted them to be able to ask me whatever they wanted and not feel like I would judge them one way or another depending on what they asked. And I figured if there were any incredibly inappropriate questions, I would just not read them.
Just leave them out. Right.
Yeah, exactly. But what do you think was the most common question that was asked of me, Jared? I got this.
I'm not even
times.
close. I'm 0 for 2.
You are.
Sorry, do you have a girlfriend?
1 for 3. Yes, very good. Very good.
Woo.
I had four sheets of paper that had, do you have a girlfriend? And then there was another one.
No name on them.
No names on them. Then there was another one that said, do you plan on marrying a Chinese girl? So there you go. So I have an inkling that maybe a couple of the students that came to the conversation hour might have a bit of a crush on me, which is a little weird, but hey, it is what it is, I guess. So Yeah, and then another student also wrote, do you prefer girls with long hair or short hair? So that was kind of interesting.
Just imagine you say like short.
And
then the next class. Why is everyone bald all of a sudden?
Oh, I should have said that. Actually, I prefer girls with a shaved head. Oh, that would have been funny.
Only bald.
That would have been funny. Let's see here.
Gosh.
And then one of the students that came to the conversation hour or the English corner, he actually speaks German, and so he wrote his question for me in German, and he wrote, haben Sie an einer deutschen Uni studiert? And so then I told him, I read it in German, and everyone was like, oh, like they were like amazed. And I'm like, people, it's not that amazing. Like you all can speak English, like you speak a second language. And so I read the question in German, and then I translated it for everybody, and then I told them about Vienna. Should have plugged the podcast, but I didn't. Maybe next time. But yeah,
It's a little early.
That's true. That is true.
Can they even get it in China?
I'm not sure. That's a good question. Well, I mean,
Can they?
I'm not sure. That's a really good question.
Oh,
Now, if you have Spotify Premium here, it works. Now, I can't see like the song suggestions of my friends because I think that's linked up with Facebook.
right.
But otherwise,
Maybe you can check. Well, you can check iTunes and let me know too.
The weird thing about iTunes so far is I've tried to use it on my computer and on my phone, like to go to the store, and on my phone I have internet connection, on my computer I have internet connection, and it says please connect to Wi-Fi or like something like this, so the store like won't connect. But I think there is an iTunes store here in China.
But I'm talking about podcasts though.
Right. I'll take a look and see.
Do you know where our podcast shows up?
I do. I know how to find it. Don't you worry. But yeah. But that was a lot of fun.
So any more good questions from your students?
Let's see here. I'm trying to think. I had one question: do I vote for Trump or Hillary? And then I had to kind of explain the concept of, in theory, the better of two evils, even though they were both bad choices in my own political opinion. The students were laughing when I said that.
So you did tell them who you voted for?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I did. I did.
They don't like Trump there?
I think it's 50-50. I think some of them they like him because the narrative over here is that he is a very good businessman and he wants to improve business relations with China, but I think it really depends on how you look at that.
That doesn't seem to be how it's... Okay, listen, this is not...
That's true. So they asked me who I voted for. The big one was if I had a girlfriend.
That makes sense. You got asked that in Czech Republic too, didn't you?
I did, yeah, I did. The funny thing was, though, too, is I was talking to a colleague of mine, and she told me, she was like, yeah, you probably should have just lied and told me you had a girlfriend. And I'm like, well, I don't want to just lie to my students. And she's like,
I'm with them.
Yeah, well, she was like, now you're definitely gonna have like students that are gonna like probably have like a bit of a crush on you, and then like you'll be wondering in class, like, are they actually paying attention, or are they daydreaming, or who knows what? So yeah.
What kind of egotistical weirdo looks at someone and was like, this person's probably daydreaming about me again. Man, I can't get anything done.
Right. I agree with you, Jared. I agree with you. But I guess the last thing that was really funny and kind of an ego booster was on Tuesday, I had my students do a homework assignment where they brought in 3 objects that were important to them. So it could have been a picture of their family, maybe a gift from family or boyfriend or girlfriend or a friend, picture of their pet, whatever, right? And so I asked the class, I said, what do you think I would have brought in? What things are important to me? And all the students said books.
Can I guess?
Sure. So books was the one that the students all guessed right. What else do you think what do you think I would have brought in?
Obviously guitars. That's obvious.
Yep.
And then probably a picture of your dog.
Yep. Show them a picture of Basset Hounds, and they all went, "Aw," like simultaneously. So that was kind of funny.
And your Samsung Q2U, because you're a dedicated podcaster.
That's right. You better believe it. Or headphones. Either or.
Oh, that's true.
Either or.
Mm-hmm.
But the funny thing was, so I asked my students, and they all guessed books right. And one student was like, maybe a German book. I was like, that's a really, really great idea. Sure. Another student said a ping pong ball, which I was like, yeah, good. But then then these two girl students in like near the front row were like laughing, and so I was curious. You know, I was like, what are they laughing about? So I asked the girl who was laughing kind of hard. I was like, so tell us, what do you think I would bring? And she gets really red in the face, and she kind of laughs, and she like looks at me and looks around, and she's like, she didn't really know how to put it at first, so she was like,
me.
I think, well, she, right. She was like, what did she say? She said, it was a little strange the way she worded it, but she was like, you brought handsome in today. And I'm like, what do you mean? And she's like, you look very handsome today. And then the whole class erupts in laughter. I also start laughing. And it was just so funny though. Like the way she said it. And it was also so like,
yeah,
kind of cute and innocent and like, but I thought about it, I'm like, you can't really...
But these people are like in their 20s, right?
Yeah, they're all juniors.
So how cute and innocent is it? I mean...
Well, so
I've of very active age, if you know what I mean.
Well, Jared, I think in China it's a little different because what some of my friends have told me...
They don't just throw it around like we do here.
Not like we do. They're not savages like we are, Jared. They're not savages. From what I've been told... Now, take this... Well, I think it seems fairly accurate, but from what I've been told by a couple of my friends who have spent a lot of time in China, is that most more traditional Chinese kids will have one, maybe two significant others and marry either the first one or maybe the second one. And a lot of times that will happen in college. So, yeah, they're not, as Jared said, they're not throwing it around like we are. And it also seems like Chinese kids...
The royal we, not me and Chad, by the way.
Right, exactly. Jared and I are saints, by the way, if you didn't know. But
I'm in a loving relationship.
Right. I'm single and ready to mingle, I guess.
Ready to throw it around.
but anyways, so... but what a couple of my friends have told me is that Chinese kids tend to live a bit more of a sheltered life. For one, like, you know, they live with their parents. It's not like you can like go spend the night at your boyfriend or girlfriend's house. Some parents will not allow their children to date until
my
college.
parents don't let me do that either, just to be clear.
Right. Jared was still throwing it around though, just they didn't know about it. But anyways,
right, listen, Chad, this is
I'm just kidding.
Family podcast.
But anyways, and so college is kind of when they first start dating, and a lot of times the first significant other, and maybe if that one for some reason doesn't work out in the second one, they will end up marrying. So it's a lot different. So I've been warned,
right.
Like if you date a Chinese girl, like she might expect you to marry her. So I'm like, we'll see if I date any Chinese girls while I'm here.
Right.
But it was interesting. So the other thing I wanted to mention, this whole tangent about China, is yesterday was my first experience on public transportation in China. That was really interesting because I was on the bus and there were a couple of abrupt stops, and I'm not sure how I didn't eat shit on the bus. Like I had a death grip on the handle.
Before we even get to that, the holy shit handle. Before we get to that, how'd you get your tickets?
So first of all, the whole reason why I was on the bus was I needed to get my work permit and then file for my residency permit. So I have my work permit. So now technically I can legally work here in China. So that's good. It's been approved by the Office of Foreign. It's like the Foreign Bureau of Exit and Entry. Or no, that's the Foreign Work Bureau, the Bureau for Exit and Entry. Oh, sorry, I'm a little sleepy today. This is morning my time, evening Jared's time. But anyways, so the Exit and Entry Bureau is the one for foreigners to get the residency permit. So we had to go there, and then we had to take a bus to get back to campus. And so my foreign affairs officer was the one who paid for the bus tickets. Because for the bus, you need to pay using your phone, which I still don't have yet because I don't have a Chinese bank account and I don't have a residency permit. So I've been paying with cash for everything. And it's really funny, some of the looks people give me. Like I've been to a couple restaurants and they look and they're like, really? Like you're going to make me open up a register and give you change? Like really? You know, so
what am I supposed to do with this?
Right. But yeah, so I took the bus. So that was crazy. I've never heard a bus driver honk the horn so many times in my entire life. And the other crazy thing is too, dude, you have people on like mopeds and like electric scooters taking the bus lane, and there's like little to no space and they squeeze by. Like I could never be one of those people
by the door
on
side?
scooters. Yeah. It's crazy.
Oh, man.
It was wild. And the crazy thing too, Jared,
is that the first time you've been in a car since you've been there?
No,
in Jinan, excuse me.
In Jinan, I've taken cabs a couple of times. I've been on the shuttle bus.
So you know what the... So is it pretty hectic in general, the traffic?
It depends when you go. If you leave in the morning after rush hour, it's not too bad. Are they
rule followers there?
So that's the thing, is that I have no idea what the laws and the rules are on the road. I kid you not, Jared, I have seen cab drivers get off the road and take the bike path, which is wide enough for most of the smaller taxis, and they'll zoom down the bike path. So I'm not really sure what the laws are with the roads here. But what I will tell you is I would not be able to drive here because I'm not an assertive enough driver, and you have to be very assertive. No. You have to be willing to like squeeze into spaces that I have never seen people try to squeeze in before. And
it's a lot of games of chicken, it feels like, with other people, you know?
Oh, for sure. And I will tell you this,
where it's
Jared,
like, I'm going to change lanes, and if you're either going to let me in or I'm going to run into you.
Right, exactly.
Those are the two options right
now. Right. And the other thing is,
you don't think I'm going to do it.
Right, but I'm going to do it. So I think it's a whole different mentality driving around here. And I will tell you, your cousin Chris would not last a day here. Based on our New Year's Eve story where he got motion sickness in the cab, he would not last a day here.
Yes.
It is crazy. And like I said, there were a few times on the bus where I was like, I'm going to eat shit and run into this poor old Chinese woman standing in front of me, and I'm going to feel so bad. But I had my death grip on the oh shit handles up top, the little bars where you can grab, and everything was okay. But it was interesting. It was kind of cool.
Nice.
To do that. And
was it packed? The bus packed?
Not too bad. It wasn't too bad. The last thing I will mention, I need to write these down so it's a bit more succinct for all of our listeners. I can't talk apparently today either. Last thing though, I went to a Chinese place for dinner, and I went to this like smaller place, but it was kind of busy, so I thought, okay, this is probably a safe bet. Jared probably thinks this is a diarrhea story. This is not a diarrhea story, thankfully. But this is a story of...
I'm actually glad it's not. I don't want you to get diarrhea.
Right. Trust me, neither of us do. But so I went to this place, and it was like a noodle place and like a soup and noodle place. And so I took my phone, and thankfully Google Translate was working. Because some places they'll actually have stuff in English below it. Some places won't. And so this place, though, it was pretty cheap. It was 12 RMB for this chicken dish. And the chicken dish I got, it's called mouth-watering chicken. And let me tell you, dude, it should be called mouth-numbing chicken because it was spicy. And literally by the end of the meal, my lips, I kid you not, my lips were numb. And it was good, but I've never had, I guess in China there are a few different styles of spice. And one of them is like a numbing spice. And the funny thing was I was eating it with chopsticks.
Oh, that's the point of it?
Yeah, it's like a numbing spice because it has a different flavor.
Okay,
it was good.
What's that?
But when I was eating it and I started to feel this numbing spice, I was like, great, this is not going to be good the next day. This is not going to be good. But that was all fine for those of you who were curious. But the funny thing was...
How long was your mouth numb?
It was, so I went to that ice cream place that we talked about on either the last episode or the one before that with the
that
sea salt
reinvigorated
it. The neon pink and light electric blue colored ice cream. Love that ice cream.
You said you were going to post that picture.
Oh, shoot, I need to do that.
What episode was that?
I think it was the last one.
I don't remember what episode that was.
I'll post it once we hang up because I need to log on. Anyways, so...
No, you won't.
But, so it was numb maybe for about 10 minutes, and then I got ice cream, and then there was no more numbness. But I'll have to do another experiment without the ice cream and see how long the numbness lasts.
I like that you're testing your food limits, though. That's good.
Yep. And
that makes me excited.
The funny thing was I was using chopsticks, and I was fine, but the woman brought over a spoon. She saw me using my chopsticks, and I was eating the food. I was able to get it to my mouth, and I'm sure it wasn't the correct way to hold them, but she brought me a spoon. And I was like, I mean, thank you.
I was about to say, you were probably fine in your eyes. You're like, oh, I'm doing, but she probably looked at you and was like, this guy has no idea what he's doing.
Right. Probably. Well, Jared, I could talk for hours about stuff going on here in China, but I think now it's definitely time to.
Yeah, we'll sprinkle it out a little bit over some episodes.
That's
because
right.
I love hearing it too. Honestly, I shouldn't have. It's my fault, Chad. I shouldn't have talked about the sports. We have a whole main topic for that.
That's true. That's all right, though.
Yes. But yeah, for now, spread a little love. Let's do it.
Absolutely. So I have 2 celebrity shout-outs today, and I have a country shout-out.
Thank you.
So that's
I did
right.
do something.
They're all about Jared, actually, everybody. No, so my first one goes to J.K. Rowling, who has donated £15.3 million to the University of Edinburgh to help improve the lives of people with MS, or multiple sclerosis, or similar neurodegenerative diseases. And so what's nice is that a lot of this money will be spent on building new centers, and this is going to be called the Anne Rowling Regenerative, I can't say that word today, god damn it, Regenerative Neurology Clinic, which was set up after a previous donation from Rowling in 2010. And so her mother passed away, unfortunately, from MS at the age of 45. And so I think this is really great that she is helping all these people and donating so much money, which will hopefully make a difference for the lives of thousands, maybe even millions of people. So I think that's awesome. So lots of love to J.K. Rowling.
You betcha.
She just seems like a great woman in general. Like the clapback tweets she sends are hilarious and so on point. Mm-hmm. And obviously she has influenced.
She's great on Twitter.
Right. And she's influenced
and
so many people through Harry Potter.
Yeah, and she also seems like she really does try to give back, because she's clearly balling on levels that most rich people can't even understand.
Right.
So it is good that she actually tries to, use that for good, and it seems like she does. So
absolutely,
I like her.
Absolutely.
She seems like good people. I feel like we'd get along. Hey, hit us up if you want to be on the pod.
That's
JK.
Right. We'd love to hear from you. Absolutely.
J.K. Rowling. I'm not saying just kidding.
Right. Exactly. So my next celebrity shout out for today, Jared, goes out to the GOAT. In my opinion, probably our generation and maybe the generation that's older than us would agree that he is the GOAT. Michael Jordan. A lot of younger kids, I think, associate the GOAT with LeBron James, which is fine. He's a great player. I'm just saying MJ was the man back in the day. I loved watching him play basketball as a kid. Anyways, he has donated $1 million to the Bahamas to help with Hurricane Dorian. And he says he will continue to donate money to different charities who he thinks will be beneficial for the Bahamas after the devastation from the hurricane. And Michael Jordan, and I quote, said this: "I'm devastated to see the destruction that Hurricane Dorian has brought to the Bahamas, where I visit frequently. My heart goes out to everyone who is suffering and those who have lost loved ones." So I think that's really great. And believe it or not, Jared, this is not the first time Michael Jordan has donated money for hurricane relief efforts. He has donated money as well to his home state of North Carolina and other places as well. So I think it's really great that he is willing to donate some of his money to the Bahamas, and we hope everyone there is doing all right, and hopefully this money will help rebuild and get people back on their feet. So that's great. So thank you, Michael Jordan. My last shout out for today, Jared. What? Go ahead.
No, go ahead. I thought you said you only had 2 shout outs.
Nope. And 2 celebrity shout outs and 1 country shout out. And my 1 country shout out is going out to our people in Bavaria and Berlin who have shown there has been a big peak in urban gardening, which has basically given people healthy and fresh products without long transportation routes. So it's healthier in terms of the freshness and also healthier for the environment in terms of where it needs to, how far it needs to be transported. So there's a lot of different urban farming now in Berlin, and also a lot of new farming things happening in Bavaria as well. So I think that's really great. And it's really awesome that they're doing this, and this is showing like alternative forms of food production where you have farms within city limits, you use aquaculture facilities, and what's really crazy is saltwater shrimp, Jared, are being raised in the village of Langenpreising, which is near Munich. I'm not sure how they do this, but I'm assuming you have.
Yeah, I was going to say, how is that possible?
Right. I have no idea, but I think it's really awesome that they're able to make this happen. And I mean, Germany has always been, I would say, kind of on the forefront of innovative technologies for sure. I think it's great that they are doing this. So it's really great. And so here you go, Jared. This is how the shrimp works. I just came across it. So the city farmers had to abandon their hopes of a completely circular economy in which nutrient fish water would be cleaned by the plants. So now what they realized is they need water with different pH values. And so that, I guess, is a way that they've been able to raise the shrimp. And now what's also interesting, too, is they've been experimenting with a wide variety of assortments of vegetables. And apparently basil is a great vegetable to grow with urban farming. So it's kind of interesting. And so they also use it, I guess, they somehow use it with fish as well. So kind of interesting. And apparently the experimentation phase tends to be more or less over in Germany, and now they're able to really start producing. So I think that's awesome. So shout out to all of our homies, all of our oidas in Germany, or I guess oidas in Germany doing this. It's really great.
Yeah, easy.
That's true. My Viennese German slipped out there. Sorry, people. So, Jared, do you happen to know what time it is?
Oh, I do. That's the untranslatable level, everyone. That means it's time for those idioms, sayings, proverbs, all that good stuff that don't make any sense if you translate them literally, but they do mean something to those people, and we're going to decipher them.
That's right.
I'll start. My first one's Dutch, and it goes, alsof een engeltje over je piest. Whew.
As if he has a gold. Is it Tasha?
No. You were started off good. As if alsof een engeltje, maybe.
Okay.
Obad, excuse me. Over je piest. As if, do you want to keep guessing or
give me the translation? No, give me the translation.
As if a small angel pees on your tongue.
Oh, that's when something's tasty.
Yes. It is. I love that one. I really enjoy the I like the last week we did My Cheeks Are Falling Off. I believe that was Japanese. Or last episode, it wasn't last week. But maybe it was. I'm so confused. I don't even know what date it is right now. Right. But yeah, I like that one. As if a small angel pees on your tongue.
Right.
You can be so lucky.
Right. My favorite, though, in terms of like when something is good in relation to wine, is the French one about, what is it, baby Jesus in velvet underpants?
Oh, yeah, that was one of the early ones.
Yeah, that's one of my
clearly
favorites.
Do like
though.
that one.
Yeah, I do. I love that one. I'm going to start to have to, well, I don't really drink wine. I like it, but I'm not a big wine drinker.
I do.
But if I ever become a wine connoisseur, I'm going to start to use that one in English. Well, cool, Jared. Well, so I met the Arabic teacher yesterday. He's from Egypt. And due to him, I decided, you know what, I'm going to give you some Arabic untranslatables today. And I also have a few Chinese from you as well. And it was really funny. So he's learning English right now. So his English isn't great. He's a beginner. And
does he speak Chinese?
So no.
Okay.
He's more or less kind of like me. You know, he speaks his native language, and
I don't know how long he'd been
doesn't
there.
speak Chinese. But yeah, and he just got here as well. So, but the funny thing was that I told him Assalamu alaikum, and so he was super. You know, he was super excited and said Assalamu alaikum to me. And then he said marhaba, and I said marhaba, and he was all excited.
What does that mean?
So I'm hoping that's just like hello. It's like a greeting.
Oh, okay. I knew I've never heard marhaba before.
And now I don't know though if it's politically correct if you're a non-Muslim to say assalamu alaikum. I'm not sure because I know and I hope I didn't. I don't think I offended him, but so any of our listeners out there who speak Arabic, please let us know on untranslatable.podcast@gmail.com because I don't want to offend anybody. But I do like.
But he didn't seem like
means,
he responded as if you were. He didn't like respond in an offended way though. Like he seemed. You said he seemed to like it.
Right. But so now I'm hoping to learn some random Arabic because he's learning English. So I figure, you know what, dude, you're learning my language. I'm going to try to learn a little bit of Arabic and try to converse with you.
Could you
anyways, that's
make a new friend and do like a teach him English as like you did in Czech Republic with Czech?
Probably. Yeah.
Should look into that. Hey, there you go.
I should. It'd be cool to be able to speak some Arabic. Anyways, I'm going to try to speak some Arabic now and give you some untranslatable phrases, Jared. So here we go. The first one is el bab el yegalak mino el re cero u estare, which means close the door that brings the wind and relax. This is definitely something you would say to me, Jared.
Oh, it's just like take a chill pill? Or is it like stop worrying?
We'll give it to you. Basically, what it means is block whatever is causing you stress in your life and don't worry about it.
I wouldn't tell you that. I worry about everything.
Fair enough, Jared.
My next one is Brazilian Portuguese, as you would say. Estou carrando e andando. Estou carrando e andando. There we go. I mean, there we go. I still probably said it wrong. I'm shitting and walking. So I guess it's like estoy would be like that's what it would be if it were Spanish, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and I can't pronounce it, so I feel like a hypocrite trying to tell you the way it should be pronounced. But I believe that's one of the nasally sounds in Brazil.
Yeah, it's OU.
Yeah,
but
I think
was
that's
like
supposed
an
to be
AU, wouldn't it be?
I don't know how to pronounce it. Let me talk to my good friend Andrea, and I'll see if I can have her. Can you send that untranslatable to me, like the written one, and I'll send it to her, and I'll see if I can get her to record it for me, and then we'll know how it's said. But so it's I'm walking and I'm shitting, or I'm shitting and I'm walking.
Yes.
Okay, I'm shitting and I'm walking. Sounds like I just went to a bad Chinese restaurant and I'm trying to run home.
Chad's
let's
got
see
that
here.
in his future. It's
let's hope not. Can you give me a clue?
Yeah,
I don't even know where to begin with
it's kind
this
of
one.
like a proclamation. So like,
is it like when you have like an epiphany?
No.
No. Okay.
A butt epiphany. No. No, it's so for example, let's say that you and I were driving somewhere when we were taking my car, and I had the windows down and it started pouring rain, and you were nice enough to start rolling up your window, and I would just and I just rolled it right back down after you rolled it up, and you're like, dude, it's pouring rain. Don't you want to like keep your car dry? And I'm like, bro, I'm shitting and I'm walking. Keep those windows down, son.
So it's just like I don't care.
There you go.
Okay.
You were right the first
time. I don't care. Okay.
Well,
right.
The actual translation. The actual translation is "I don't give a damn." Not translation, but that's what the website that I got it from said. So yeah, you were right on point there.
All right.
I just sent it to
I
you.
like that one. Okay. Oh, perfect. Thank you. All right. So this one, I think, Jared, you'll be able. Well, I hate always doing this because I feel it puts you on the spot, but I think this one you'll be able to get because I think it's fairly clear. So this is Chinese. Okay. It's one of the 4-character phrases, and also known, I believe, as Chengyu, and it is
Chengyu.
Let's see here. Sorry, I have to look at the pinyin to figure out the rising and the falling tone. So here we go. Dui Niu Tian Qin, which means to play a qin, which is a traditional Chinese instrument, to a cow. To play qin to a cow.
Oh, it's like music to my ears.
Nope. Nope. Even though
See,
animals do respond to instruments, I would say it's the opposite of that.
Have you seen? Oh, it sounds like it's. Oh, it's like it's annoying to hear, or it's like terrible to hear. Sounds awful.
So,
harsh.
Sorry, I led you in the wrong direction. That's my fault, buddy. You gave me an untranslatable like this that was kind of similar, and it has the same meaning.
Can you give me the English again?
Yeah, to play a chin to a cow.
To serenade someone?
No, this is to address the wrong listener. This is like you're playing music that would be enjoyed by humans, but you're not playing it to a human.
Okay.
Right.
Okay,
Because
it's
you
like
gave me a similar untranslatable.
I think I know what you're talking about now. It's like essentially, it's like we're not even on the same wavelength here.
Right.
Okay.
Like you're talking, like it's like you're talking about astrophysics to an English teacher, right?
Did you see, or anyone that's not an astrophysicist?
Right.
Did you see the video that was going viral on social media? The guy with the saxophone that played like on the side of the road and like in front of a farm, and a bunch of cows like came up to the fence and just stared at him.
I haven't seen that one. I haven't seen that one, but there's a bunch of them with cows where there's this one guy who will play trombone. And so he was playing when the Saints come marching in on his trombone, and all the cows came running to the field, and their little tails are wagging. It's really cute. But yeah.
Let's
so there
talk
you go.
sports. I have more translatables, but we'll save them for later.
Let's save
I
them.
want to talk sports.
Let's save them. Let's talk sports. Sounds good.
We've been real chatty this episode.
That's
I
true.
miss you, by the way, just so you know.
It's same, buddy. It's been great, and on the one hand, I kind of like doing podcasts this way because this is how we started in a way with the Czech Republic, and with you being in Philly. But I started to get used to doing them face to face. It was kind of nice. So I miss you as well. But let's talk about sports, which is, I would say, one way that we were able to bond a lot when I was in grad school, because you'd come almost every other week and we would play soccer. So, why don't we talk about soccer, I guess, or football, since it's a big one around the world. And I think it's definitely worth mentioning today. That's for sure.
So, for those of you that didn't know, soccer/football is one of the biggest sports in the world.
Yep.
How is it? Now, we don't need to talk about the fact that it's the biggest sport. Everyone knows that. What I want to know, how did we avoid it here in the United States?
I think a lot of it has to do with, and this is not research, empirical data, people, this is just my own opinion. I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that we already have a lot of other sports that were popular while soccer was popular in the past. So I think that has to do with it. I think the other thing as well is I really think a lot of Americans prefer like more violent contact sports like football, American football, and ice hockey, and MMA, and wrestling. And even though people say wrestling's fake, I mean, I'm sure those punches still hurt, and I'm sure those slams still hurt. Yeah,
that's the thing. It's fake in the sense that it's written, but they do have to actually jump off. They're actually jumping off things and landing on people. That part is very real. And maybe they find ways to not make it like be as painful, but it's still,
right.
It's pretty, it's pretty taxing on the body.
Mm-hmm. And so,
I guess that makes sense.
Depending on where you get your data, Jared, I've heard anywhere from soccer having over 4 billion fans. I've also heard 5 billion. I have no idea what the actual number is, but it's really crazy
thing to quantify.
Right. But yeah, I mean, soccer's huge all over the world. Just look at the World Cup and all the different soccer leagues. I do think it is gaining popularity in the U.S., and I'm even going to go out on a limb, Jared, and say in the next 20 to 30 years, we might actually be able to do fairly well in the World Cup.
All right.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say it. We'll see. Maybe I'll be eating my words in 20, 30 years.
20 to 30 years, so we can be like, all right.
Well, Chad was wrong.
The good thing about soccer, what I have always loved about soccer is it doesn't take a lot. Like, you need a ball, isn't really that. And honestly, you don't even need a soccer ball. I've played soccer with volleyballs, basketballs, tennis balls. I played soccer with everything, and you definitely don't need a goal. Just be like between those two things. Or when we used to play with tennis balls, what we would do would we'd say like if we were playing on a basketball court, you have to hit the basketball pole. Yep. Or actually, we do that with soccer balls too. Like the goal is to actually hit the pole. That was the goal is to hit the pole. That was a way we'd play as well. And and I think just because of that, how simple it is, it's very easy to unify. I mean, when I first moved to Germany, soccer, even outside of school, I played at school and all, but even outside of the school team, soccer was a huge unifier just for me getting out of my bubble and meeting like the German kids, not the kids that go to my international school that lived in my neighborhood, but meeting like the actual German people. That was a big connector. Like you see someone playing soccer and you can't help, like if you're a soccer person and you're like, oh, can I play? And especially, which is hilarious because I was just talking about that at the beginning of this episode, how that's all it takes. And it's funny too because as a kid I've definitely done that a bunch,
right?
But now it seems ridiculous for some reason.
You have to embrace your inner child here, Jared, and just
I guess so.
Let me play. I want to play. But yeah, so soccer is a big one, and I can tell you that soccer has definitely gotten bigger in China, and I see a lot of soccer fields now. We drove by a couple of them yesterday when I was taking the shuttle from my campus to the downtown campus. I have a few students who I've been in touch with that I'm hoping to play soccer with. Apparently, they have a foreign teacher soccer team here, so I have my Sambas. I don't have cleats, but I have my Sambas, so I might try to join that as well. But yeah, I mean, and the cool thing about soccer is it's a very, like you mentioned, it's a great way to meet locals. I had a buddy who spent a few weeks in Mexico and was playing beach soccer with a bunch of people from Mexico and learned a little bit.
And there's no learning curve,
right?
Like there's nothing to learn. It's just like try to get the ball into the goal.
Right, exactly. Just don't use your hands. That's about it.
Right.
Anything else, just
don't
use your hands and you're good. Right. What sport, though, Jared? I was surprised by this. What sport do you think is number 2 around the world? I was very surprised by this.
See, I'm glad I don't have this list pulled up because I did find this list, but I didn't actually look through it.
Good. I was wondering if you would, so I'm glad you didn't.
I think I know what it is.
What is it?
Cricket.
Very good. Yeah, it is cricket.
Yes.
And this is what threw me off because, in the States, we don't play cricket. We have baseball, which is similar but different. But apparently there are around 2.5 billion cricket fans.
Cricket's even more foreign to us than soccer. Like, we at least get soccer here, even if no one cares about it. Like, people know what it is. Like, I have no idea what's going on in cricket.
Me either.
Idea, but like, I really... And, yeah. But I know it's huge in India. I know it's huge in England. I know it's huge in a good number of African countries too. I know it's huge in I don't know about it's huge in all of the sort of like the, what do you call like the is that Southeast Asian, like the India, because I know it's also huge in like Pakistan too and as well.
Yep. Yeah, India, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, Pakistan, Australia, it's very big.
Is that Southeast Asia? Is that what you call that?
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah, Southeast Asia. Yeah. And the funny thing is, too, is that basically if it was a former British colony, it has a flourishing cricket culture in the country, which doesn't surprise me. Yeah. And so, I had a buddy from Pakistan in my grad program with me, and he was a huge cricket fan. And he tried to explain it to me, and I tell you what, man, I just did not get it. But I've taken a German buddy of mine to a Tigers game, and trying to explain baseball to him wasn't easy either. And American football is difficult to explain as well. So it's weird how when you're in that culture, more
confusing than baseball to explain.
Baseball, I would agree. I would definitely agree. Now, number 3, Jared, also number 3 also really surprised me.
Can I guess?
And absolutely. And the list, I will note this though. This is from worldatlas.com. Depending on the website you use, the list will be a little bit different. But this is according to their list. What do you think is number 3, Jared?
I have 2 thoughts in my head.
Okay.
I'm going to say tennis.
No, not tennis.
Okay, the other one I was thinking was rugby.
Nope. Also not rugby.
Okay.
This one surprised me. Yeah?
Hockey.
What kind of hockey?
Oh, so it's not ice hockey.
It's not ice hockey. It's field hockey.
That surprises me too.
Yes.
Because field hockey was huge. I remember when I lived in Germany. Like select schools have like usually a girls team here. Like it's kind of a girls sport in the US.
That's what I don't get. Yeah, that's the weird thing is
but it's not a girls sport
and field
around
hockey.
the world.
Exactly. Volleyball and field hockey around the world are just considered a
Just
sport. Whereas in the States
there's men's and women's teams.
Right.
Yeah.
Whereas, in the States, as you mentioned, field hockey is associated more as a women's sport, which I don't understand, and volleyball as well. And the funny thing is, one of my buddies from Chile, you remember Robert, he was a really good volleyball player, good tennis player, and a good volleyball player. And I remember him asking a couple kids at our school, like, oh, is there a men's volleyball team? And they laughed at him because volleyball at high school in the United States is considered like a women's sport. But it's like if you ever watch an international volleyball match, men's or women's, it's super intense. Like, I really hate this notion of like a girly sport not being intense, because that's not true at all. Field hockey's intense as well.
Yeah, and field hockey's super physical too.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, but isn't like a beach volleyball huge in South America?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I know Brazil, and I know they have a great teams, like a national teams. Like you always see them in the Olympics and stuff winning.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Number 4, Jared, is tennis. With an estimated 1 billion fans around the world. But see, I think this is based on fans and not by people who play it. So I wonder, I'm willing to bet if it was by people playing it, this would be a very different list. I'll just go through the list because I'd like to discuss this more with you. Absolutely. Number 5 is volleyball. Number 6, I'm very proud of this, table tennis with 875 million fans around the world. And table tennis is actually fairly big in a couple countries in Europe, and obviously a few different Asian countries, South Korea and China specifically. Basketball is number 7 with 825 million fans. Baseball.
I'm going to be honest with you. I'm shocked we haven't gotten to hockey yet.
Yeah? Well, we'll see if it's even in the top 10. I'm not sure. Baseball, we have 500 million. And then baseball is big in the United States, the Caribbean, Japan, and also South Korea. Now we finally have reached rugby at number 9, 475 million. And number 10 is, you think it's hockey, Jared?
No, actually I don't.
It's golf with 450 million fans. So hockey is not even in the top 10. And I think that's because, now, as I mentioned, this is based on number of fans. And I think this has to do with the fact that hockey is a North American sport and a Scandinavian sport, and they do have it in Europe, and it's big in huge in the Czech Republic. But I think the countries where hockey is big, they don't have nearly as big of a population as countries that watch these other sports. Exactly. So I think that would be why. But I'm super happy
about Russia,
about
though. Russians love hockey, don't they?
They do. Oh, yeah. Yes, they do. Russians do. Scandinavian countries, Czech Republic, United States,
Canadians,
Canada.
obviously.
Right. I mean, that's kind of the joke, right, is Canadians have maple syrup and they have hockey. There's a lot more in Canada than that, but that's the joke. So, yeah.
Sure there is.
But it's kind of interesting. So I would like to talk a little bit about table tennis, Jared, because table tennis is important for a few different reasons. And the one reason why I want to talk about table tennis is I'm hoping this will be my segue to learn a little bit of Chinese and meet some other people here, is through table tennis. And China has been a world powerhouse in table tennis for years. But the other main reason why I wanted to bring up table tennis is there's this really interesting story called ping pong diplomacy. Have you ever heard of this before, Jared?
Definitely not.
So in the 70s, I believe it was in 1972, there was actually an agreement to exchange table tennis players between the United States and China, and this was one of the first steps towards diplomatic relations between the two countries. So table tennis was a big contributor to opening up the borders to the United States and China, and so it's pretty awesome. So basically, because of this, there was a famous athlete named Deng Yaping, who is regarded as one of the best table tennis players of all time. She was just born 1 year after the the Ping Pong Diplomacy Act, and started playing when she was 5. And she has actually won the most titles of any table tennis player around the world. And she has also been voted the Chinese female athlete of the century, which is pretty amazing.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
But I think it's cool because this just shows that sports can open up not only social borders between regular people like Jared and I, but also open up ideas of diplomacy and agreement and cooperation between countries. So I think this is really awesome. And in the 70s, the U.S. did have a couple decent players that were competing pretty highly at a world level.
We talk a lot about like how, different aspects of communication, like, for example, music, we obviously talk about. And I think that sports is kind of another one in the sense that, like, you can play a sport with someone pretty effectively and not be able to speak, either of their, each other's language. Just because,
Absolutely.
even if you could say pass without even know, like, even if you don't know how to say pass, you probably, if you just heard someone on your team yell something and you look up and see that they're open, you could probably understand what they're getting at.
Right. Exactly.
And so it is one of those other things where you can sort of overcome those language barriers and just be like, well, we can't really talk, but we both can have fun and get to like interact with each other through sports because we both love the sport.
Right. Absolutely. And so China, as I mentioned, has been a powerhouse for a very, very long time in table tennis, and I don't see that changing at all in the near future. But there is one country in Asia that is trying to dethrone China. Do you know which country that is, Jared?
India.
No, South Korea. South Korea has a few very top-ranked players right now, and so the big one is this gentleman named Ju Se-hyuk. And what's cool about this guy is he's what we call a defensive player. Oh yeah, we're buddies. We go way back. No, I wish I'd love to meet him.
I don't mean like that.
Of course, I know who he is. Yeah. I mean, well, I've never given Jared my the full level of nerdness that I have, especially my father has for table tennis, because
I don't know anything about like how much you keep up with it or anything. I just know you like to play. And you've had trainers back in the day.
And for me, it's more about playing it. But my dad is involved in the entire, like he knows so many random people through table tennis. It's crazy. But the funny thing is that... Does he
still go like every week or whatever to that place he goes to play?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. He still goes there and plays every week, which is great. But the cool thing is my dad has all these DVDs and cassette tapes of all the different VHS tapes, not cassette tapes, sorry, VHS tapes and DVDs of world championships in table tennis, Olympic table tennis, all these different videos. And so I've watched this guy, Ju Se-hyuk from South Korea, and he's what we call a defensive player or a chopper. And so what these guys do is they stand way far behind the table and they hit the ball back with backspin. And so what this does, Jared, for your opponent is you have to be very patient because basically they will beat you with consistency and they will tire you out. Because it's much easier in terms of effort for me to chop a ball back than for me to come over the ball and hit it with power. So what happens is if you're an offensive player or an attacker and you play a defensive player, the match will take maybe twice or three times as long as a normal match, what you're used to. So it really tests your patience, your mental fortitude, and your endurance. And it's really fun to watch this guy. And the interesting thing, though, about Ju Se-hyuk is not only is he a defensive player, but he can also attack. So he primarily plays defense, but then he'll occasionally attack. And it's really cool to watch him go from being way back from the table, chopping the ball or slicing the ball, and then smashing it. So it's really fun to watch him play. And he
probably
really
has a certain level of like an element of surprise because like his opponents know that he's mostly defensive, but then they're also like, is he just about going to randomly attack now or something? Like, there's always sort of that like looming over.
Exactly. Exactly. Like when you play an offensive player in table tennis, you can kind of expect to be on your toes and be quick and be ready for the attack. But with him, you're right. There's this big element of surprise.
You're slow, then all of a sudden out of nowhere, it's like, oh, you got to be able to react to that.
Right.
Now, I want to ask you this. We've talked about popular sports. We've talked about sports that we like. What sports do you like to watch live? Or would you like to watch live? Let's do both.
One that I've watched a few times live, which was kind of cool, sounds kind of boring to be honest, but archery. I think it's really cool to watch a really skilled archer. But yeah.
Wait, live?
Archery is one. Yeah.
Where?
Live or on television.
I meant in person by live.
In person, definitely, I would be down to watch archery. I think that'd be kind of cool.
Okay.
But I've also dabbled a little bit in archery, so I think that's why.
I'm learning
also, though,
so
a fun
much about
sport
you.
to watch live. Right. A fun sport to watch live, though, I think would be curling, just because the fact that you have to like move the ice. So I think it'd be really interesting to watch curling live. I've never seen curling live, but I think that would be really, really cool to watch.
I feel like it would be interesting, but like I feel like it would get old fast.
Yeah, probably would. I think you could watch curling a couple times and then you'd be all right. Now, a sport I don't understand at all, Jared, though, that would be great live would be rugby. I would love to go to a rugby match. What about you?
You don't. Yes, I would love to see rugby. I think I understand it, except for the kicking parts. Well, let's put it this way. Nah,
Okay.
I don't understand. I understand the sense that you're essentially trying to get a try. Do they call it? Which is like a touchdown in the, as we would call it here in American football, in that you can't throw it forward, and they do those sort of lateral and backwards passes, or you can kick it forward. But I don't really understand the strategy of it.
Me either.
Well, we used to play when I played soccer in Germany. We would play as like warm up before soccer practice. Actually, you know those red and black like soccer sweat like warm up jackets I have.
Yeah.
I used to have another one that was not like one that was branded for my school, and we were playing, and one of my friends / teammates grabbed my pocket and just ripped the entire pocket off my jacket. Or just rip the entire side off my jacket. But yes, I love rugby. That would be a fun one to see. I'd agree with that. Well, you know one I would love to see? So I've been to soccer games. I've been to MLS games, which is a Major League Soccer, the American Soccer League. Been to a few of those, one in Dallas, one in San Jose, and that might be it. Maybe one somewhere else. I don't remember. Those are fun. I've been to a friendly. I went to a friendly game at the Big House. That was really cool. You were there too. We didn't go together, did we? No, we didn't go together.
No, we didn't.
I went with Don, I think. But we hung out after. That's why I was confused. And that was Real Madrid versus Man United. But I would like to go to a real European soccer game. It doesn't have to be Premier League. Well, I guess that wasn't Premier League. It was like Champions League stuff. But, you know, I would like it to be, you know, Premier League, La Liga, Bundesliga,
whatever.
What's the Italian one? Yeah, I would like to go to like top of the line European soccer game.
That'd be fun.
Or even honestly, or even like Mexico. I've had a few friends from Mexico, and they say that soccer games in Mexico get. Actually, no, I don't want to go to Mexico. Those sound like they get a little too rambunctious for me.
I mean, any country where soccer is a huge sport, I think it's safe to say that the atmosphere at the stadium would be awesome. It would definitely be worth it.
Yes.
I will say this though, Jared.
What else? Go ahead.
I will say this. I will say that I think college football game atmospheres in some ways are similar to soccer atmospheres in other countries. But it's still not the same.
The thing about football games for me is that they last too long. I don't want to.
Yeah.
Like they're like 3+ hours.
I'm going last a long time.
Speaking of long games, another sporting event I've seen live that I actually enjoy going to, and I'm going to tomorrow. I'm sure you can guess. I mean, given the season, it's pretty easy. Do you want to guess?
Football game.
I'm going to a
football game.
Excuse me?
Right?
No, I'm going
football
to a baseball game.
Oh, Tigers game?
Yes. My girlfriend's never been to a baseball game before.
What? Okay.
And she was like, and I heard there's going to be fireworks at the end. And I was like, yeah, but we're not staying till the end. And she's like, why not? And I was like,
dude, have you ever been to a baseball game? Stay to the end. If she's
I was like, have you ever been to a baseball game before? She's like, no. I was like, oh, come on. Like, well, she's not a baseball fan. I was like, she's like, how long does a baseball game usually last?
Well, like 4 hours.
Yeah, I was like 3+ hours. And she's like, oh.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, they are very long.
But here's the deal. I couldn't tell you the last time I've been to a full baseball game, if ever. I probably have been to a full one, but I love baseball games because they're a great place to hang out. They're a great sport to passively watch, meaning sort of like watch it as you socialize. It's a good socializing sport. Like,
I would agree.
Yeah, like I can't go to a baseball game and not get like a beer, you know? Like it just is. It kind of like I always make the joke to my friends. It is. But I always make the joke to friends and stuff where it's just like a different, like you're just kind of paying, like it's an expensive cover charge to go to a nice outdoor bar.
Right. That's a good way to put it. It's funny you mentioned that, Jared. My buddy from Germany that I took with me to a Tigers game, he said the same thing. He was like, this seems to me more like a hangout social outing than a like intently watching and like on the edge of your seat. So yeah, I would agree with you.
And there's so much time between like stuff happening.
Right. But I would say if she's never been and it's really beautiful to watch the fireworks behind Comerica Park. Just saying. You might want to take one for the team here and stay for the whole game. You might enjoy it.
Yeah, I'm just checking the weather. All right.
Well, Jared,
maybe
the
we'll
last
stay.
thing I want to do to wrap up our sports segment today is I'd like to list off some countries, and I want to see if you can guess the national sport.
Yes.
So we're going to start with Bhutan. What do you think is the national sport of Bhutan?
Jesus. Cricket.
No. Archery.
Archery.
How
where
about
is Bhutan?
Barbados?
Honestly, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know where Bhutan is.
Isn't it also in Southeastern Asia?
I think so, but for a second I was like, oh, Bhutan is also, how do you spell it?
Bhutan. Bhutan.
Oh,
so archery is their national sport.
Bhutan City is in Philippines.
Okay.
Listen, but this is. Anyways. I really regret doing all of this. You asked Barbados. Now
Barbados.
I'm gonna guess cricket.
Very good. Yeah.
We were just having that. It seems like, as you mentioned, a heavily British influenced or colonized place. Good. It's safe bet is probably cricket.
So now, other than football or soccer in Brazil, what is the other main sport in Brazil?
Volleyball.
No, capoeira, which is a Brazilian-style martial arts.
Right. So, but they don't actually fight. Like,
I'm
are
not
there
sure
actual
how it works,
like? Because I know it's like a dance fight thing, but are there actually like actual fights? That would be cool to see if they were fighting like that.
I don't know enough about it to tell you, buddy. I'm not sure.
By the way,
that's a great question.
Another sport I had on my list of want to see live, obviously Formula One, but was either boxing or like UFC or wrestling or something. I'm not a big fan of those sports. Like I don't watch any of them. But I feel like at least one time it would be cool to experience something like that. All right, give me another country.
Oh, it'd be awesome to see that live. Estonia.
Equestrian.
Basketball.
Okay. Oh.
Basketball in Estonia. Yeah.
Okay.
That was a tricky one. That's why I picked it. Let me see if I can find another good one for you. No, that's unfair. You won't get that. But in Ireland, their national sport is the Gaelic Games. You wouldn't have gotten that one.
Is that
how
where they
about
like take a
Japan,
rock
Jared?
and put it onto a higher, or is that Scottish?
The Atlas Stones? I'm not sure if the Atlas Stones. I'm not sure which ones are Scottish and Irish now that you mention that. Yeah, so I'm not even going to say. What about Japan, Jared? What are the national sports of Japan? There's 2 of them.
Soccer.
Nope.
Huh. Ping pong.
Nope. In
Table
Japan, it is
tennis?
sumo wrestling and baseball.
Of course.
Yep.
Oh,
Sumo
of course.
wrestling and baseball.
I should have known that.
Yeah.
Both of those are, as I
Right.
hear, it's like, duh.
Right. All right, Jared. The last one I'll give you today is Scotland. Scotland. What is the national sport of Scotland?
Drinking. No, that's terrible. That's
That
terrible.
might be Ireland, actually.
I think the
maybe it's
Scottish are
both.
known to take a few back as well.
Right.
Scotland, not soccer. You don't hear anything. Does Scotland even have a soccer team? I
I don't know. I
national
think they do.
sports. Golf.
Golf, Vlade. There you go. Yep.
Yes, of course.
Golf. Now, we could talk about sports all day, Jared, but now I think it's important
Yes.
to talk about some tunes that will get you amped up to go play some sports with some
Yeah.
people. So let's talk about our song of the pod for today, Jared, which is
This
what?
song might not get you amped up, by the way, but it's
You
a
don't
good
think so?
song. I don't know if it gets
think
me
it pumps
amped
you
up.
up.
That doesn't pump me up. Maybe it pumps me up to do
Okay.
capoeira.
Okay, fair enough.
But I don't know about I don't know if it'd be pump me up for like an intense sport. Jorge Ben is his name, and the song is called Ponta de. How do you pronounce that word? Lanca,
I think
Lancha,
one or the other.
Africano, and I'm just guessing, but it's Brazilian, right? I actually don't know.
Yeah,
Okay.
it is Brazilian. And a lot of people will refer to this song as Umbabarumba is kind of the, I think, what the other
they
name
kinda
that people
repeat
call
that here
it.
and there.
Yeah. And so I don't know. I picked this song because I went online and I was looking up. I love the sound of Brazilian Portuguese. Or Portuguese, I guess, as some would say. I probably don't pronounce that right. But
betcha.
anyways, and I wanted to find one, and the clear, obvious one would have been Mas Que Nada. I think it's been in a lot of soccer videos on YouTube, and I wanted to do something different.
Is that
so
like
I found this one.
Yep. Oh yeah.
That's Mas Que
Like
Nada.
remember the Yoga Bonita video? Is that what it was called?
Exactly. Yeah. Joga Bonito. Yeah. But yeah, so I picked this
I used
one.
to love this back in the day.
They're great videos. But anyways, so this song though, it's I think in the 70s is when it originally came out, and it was a super big hit, and they would play it before soccer games in Brazil, and it was really popular. And it's a cool
interesting.
song. Yeah, it's a cool song musically because it blends elements of Brazilian music, also Afrobeat, and I think there's a hint of like psychedelia in there too. Like it's a really cool song.
I get what
got
you're
a lot
saying.
going on. Yeah.
That's
What are your thoughts on it, Jared?
Well, that's what I love about you. Actually, kind of took one of the things from me, you thief. That's what I like about like a lot of South American music, is that there is. They have a lot of influences. So there is the heavy, Latin American influence and sort of the Spanish influence, but then there's also heavy African influences in South America as well too. And it causes a lot of cool sort of like musical fusions, and this seems like one of them to me.
Absolutely.
I liked it a
great.
lot.
Yeah, it's fantastic. So if you're about to go play a little football, go ahead and give this a listen. It's a fantastic song. Umbabarumba, or Ponta de Lança Africano by Jorge. I think it's, I don't know if it's George or Jorge Ben. So check that out. I have a lot of questions for Andrea to ask. But yeah, so check that out. It's a great song, and we hope you enjoy it. So speaking of mispronouncing words, now it's time for my Chinese word of the
we've been
pod
doing
for
a lot
today.
of that today.
Right. Yes, we have.
Honestly, most
I just-
episodes. Let's be honest.
right. So my Chinese word for you today, Jared, is it looks like 2 words, but I believe it's 1 word. It is TU. And TU means sports in Chinese.
Okay. Now, my Spanish word, I want to see if you know what it is. Los deportes. Deportes, excuse me. No, deportes, I believe.
That's also sports, isn't it?
It is, yes.
Yeah, that's also sports.
Yes.
Yeah, I only know that because of ESPN Deportes.
Well, oh, right. I didn't even think about that. I was going to do like a fan, but at first I asked my girlfriend what is fan, and she said fan, but that's like a fan of like an actor or something. So then she looked up like fan of a sports.
Like a sports
It
fan,
seems like they
yeah.
just say like soy day and then the team or the sport.
Okay.
Or like
Makes
the
sense, I
person,
guess.
like you're like
Right.
I am of this team or something. So I was
Right.
like, all right, I'll just say sports.
That makes sense. Well, Jerry, I got a couple corny jokes for you today. So here we go.
Okay.
Let's get started. Why did the football coach, the American football coach, go back to the bank?
Why is that?
To get his quarterback.
How did I not get that one?
Even though, let's be real, if it's a football coach in America, at least pro or college level, they don't care about a quarter because they're making bank. That's for sure. That is
even the
for
college
sure.
people.
So, Jared, this joke goes against me a bit as a person because I'm a tennis player, but why shouldn't you marry a tennis player?
I don't know.
Because love means nothing to them.
What does love mean? Could you?
Love means zero in tennis. I don't know why they use that
so
term.
if it's like 40 love,
means 0-0. Yeah, or 40
like
love
40
would
to
be
0.
40-0. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So okay, so could you? And this is a weird tangent. Could you quickly go through the scoring of tennis for me?
Sure. So you have love, then you have 15, then you have 30, then you have 40, then you win the game. Or if it's tied at 40, they call it a deuce. And then, so say if we were playing tennis and we have a deuce, if I am serving to you, okay, we play out the deuce point and you win the point, then I would say add out or advantage out because you have the advantage. If I win the point as the server, I will say add in. So add in means the server is winning the deuce. Add out means the returner is winning the deuce.
So if you're on a deuce, do both sides have a chance to serve?
No. So in tennis, you serve the entire game. And then the way you call the score is, so if I was serving to you, and if I win the first point because I play tennis, it would be 15 love, right? If
I could take you. I'm like Don.
Here we
I
go.
played tennis like 3 times in my life.
Another
I
call
got
out.
it. Come on.
I feel like you wouldn't. I feel like you could definitely hang in tennis. If I showed you the pointers, you're a good athlete. But anyway, so back to the scoring. So 15. So the call of the score. The first score 15 love. 15 is always the server. So 15 love would be I have 15, you have 0. If it was 15-15, that means I have 15, you have 15. If it's 15-30, that means I am losing the game currently. I have 15, you have 30. So you would have, in theory, kind of like 2 points, right? If it was 40-30, I would be up, and then I would have I would have game point, right? So it's a little confusing.
Oh wait, so only one person serves the whole game?
The whole game, but not in the whole match. So I would serve one game.
There's that's right. They pay like best 3 out of 5 or whatever.
No, so to win a set would be the first person that reaches 6 games. It's very confusing. You really opened up a can of worms with this one. Six games.
Christ.
Yeah, the first one is 6 games. That's why some sets, like there was I think the longest set in Wimbledon was set by Roger Federer and Novak Djokovic. I think it was like 4 hours or 3 hours or something like that. That was just one set. You in a
they do it all in one
tournament.
day?
Yeah, usually,
Jesus
unless there's a rain delay or something. Yeah,
that sounds exhausting.
You have to be in great shape to be a tennis player. Yeah. But yeah, so to win a match, you usually need to win 2 out of 3 sets. If it's a major, like the Australian Open, US Open, French Open, or Wimbledon, you have to win 3 out of 5 sets for men. So it can be a long match for sure. But anyways.
Yeah, I remember whatever that last one was super long.
Exactly. Anyways, I got one last joke for you, Jared. Why are all professional athletes bilingual?
Why is that?
Because they speak their native tongue and they're also fluent in profanity.
Profanity?
Like swearing?
No, I understand. I just don't get the joke.
You've never sworn when you've played sports?
I guess so. Yeah, sure. Of course.
I used to.
I never really had like.
I used to swear a lot in German when I would play tennis. Back in the
I
day.
wasn't a. Okay, maybe I did. I don't know.
Look, folks. Jared's a gentleman. He's not an uncultured individual like me. That's for sure. Well,
Slipping
Jared,
on
I think
gator
it's
piss.
time to wrap up this episode with a quote of the pod. And I think the key thing here with all these sports in different countries, obviously there are very different traditions, which sports are popular, which sports are more popular around the world than others. But I think the key here is to don't be afraid to try out new sports, watch new sports. And I think it's a great way to get into a different culture, make friends, and have a lot of fun. So try out different sports, watch different sports, and we hope you all have a great time. So
Yeah, I
now
totally
it's
agree
time
with
to
that.
it's time to close out
was,
the episode. Or sorry, go ahead, Jared. Go ahead.
No, you're right. Shut the fuck up, Jared.
See, this internet issue has been screwing me up because I'll go to say something and you lag for a second.
Right. To
China
be fair,
problems, everybody.
just to everyone out there, we're doing this through a real shoddy internet connection.
Yep.
That's why.
Hey,
that's
we're
why
doing it
Chad
for
doesn't
you
let
people.
me speak.
It's not because I'm a giant asshole. I'm only an asshole sometimes. That's for sure. So we hope you've enjoyed this episode about sports. I'm sure we'll have to do another one in the near future as well, just because this was a lot of fun. And there's a lot more we can discuss as well. Maybe we should go ahead.
I would like to do one where we maybe focus on a specific sport. Like, obviously, I'd like to do one on table tennis, for example.
Absolutely. I agree 100%. And another one we should do are obscure sports that you might not know about, because I found a list of sports.
Yes.
And half of these I've never even read the name of them before. A couple of them were traditional wrestling in Iran, I believe, was one country. And it's I don't even know what the rules are, how that's different from other types of wrestling. So we should do one of unique or I don't like using the term obscure. Let's stick with unique. Unique sports in different countries would be a lot of fun. But I agree with you. We should definitely do some sports focused. I would love to nerd out on table tennis. Give me some time to actually play some table tennis here in China before we do that one. I can try to do some research on the ground.
For sure.
And also learn some Chinese vocab related to table tennis. But yeah, so we hope you've enjoyed this episode about sports. We hope this will motivate you and inspire you to check out a new sport or just get out there and move around a little bit, stay happy and healthy. So we hope you've enjoyed. We really appreciate the support. And if there are any sports or anything you would like us to cover on our next or future episodes, let us know at untranslatablepodcast@gmail.com. We would really appreciate it. Check out our Instagram for clips and different pictures of what Jared and I have been up to lately. There's definitely some beautiful sunset photos of Ludington, Michigan, and a couple up of Jinan as well. I need to do a better job of taking some photos while I'm here. But anyways, we thank you all so much. And lastly, do not forget 5-star reviews on iTunes and Stitcher. Let us know how we can make this podcast better for you. So as we say here at the Untranslatable Podcast, Děkujeme, muchas gracias, and shusha.